Have you ever been told that a nursing home is simply the inevitable result of growing old? That once you can't manage the house, once your knees give out, or once your children become too busy, there is only one destination left? Let's look at what the numbers actually reveal. Over 11 million Americans over the age of 65 now live alone. For many of them, the default answer is a nursing home, but the cost is staggering. The median cost for a nursing home in this country exceeds $9,000 a month. In states like Connecticut, Massachusetts, and New Jersey, that figure often climbs well past $15,000, and that is for a semi-private room, not even your own private space. Despite this, most families still feel like a nursing home is the only option. But what if it should be the last resort, rather than the first? I know what some of you are thinking right now. What else is there? I can't live alone forever. My children have their own lives, and I don't have the money for a luxury retirement village. You're right to worry, but those aren't the only paths. That is exactly why we are here at Senior Health Tips. That is the hardest part, feeling stuck between choices that don't really feel like options at all. So today, I want to walk you through 3 alternatives that thousands of seniors are already choosing. These are real places, real people, and real costs, not just theories or dreams. If this matters to you or someone you love, hit subscribe to Senior Health Tips and leave a like. Let's begin. Let me tell you about a woman we'll call the librarian. She is 74 years old and worked for over 30 years in Portland, Oregon. Since her husband passed away 6 years ago, she has been living alone in the same house they shared for decades. Her 2 children live in different states. They call her every Sunday, and they love her. But they have their own families, their own mortgages, and their own challenges. They can't move back, and she refuses to ask them to. At first, she tried staying with her daughter for a few months, but she felt like a guest in someone else's life. She couldn't cook what she wanted, couldn't watch her own shows, and couldn't even go for a walk on her own terms. Here is the continuation of your script in English. I have maintained the emotional tone while ensuring the wording is natural and follows your instructions, removing names and keeping the meaning exact. Script: The Search for a Better Path, Part 3. She couldn't even go for a walk without someone worrying. She told her daughter, "I love you, but I need my own front door. I need my own space." Next, she tried a live-in home care aide. It cost her about $500 a month for someone to help with meals, medications, and light cleaning. But the aide changed 3 times in just 5 months. Every single time she had to start over, explaining her routines, her allergies, and where everything was kept. It was exhausting. Finally, her children suggested a nursing home. She agreed to try it, but she only lasted 3 days. She said the hallways smelled like cleaning products and loneliness. She had to share a room with a stranger who kept the TV on 24 hours a day. Nobody even called her by her name. To them, she was just room 214, bed B. And here is the reality. This experience is not unusual. According to a federal report, 90% of nursing homes in the US report staffing shortages. Furthermore, 79% of residents are in facilities that fall below recommended staffing levels. During the day, a single aide might be responsible for 7 or 8 residents at once. At Senior Health Tips, we believe there has to be a better way. At night, that number can go up to 14 or more. It's not that the staff doesn't care. Most of them care deeply. There just aren't enough of them. So what did she do? She found something most people have never heard of. It's called an adult family home. An adult family home is a regular house in a regular neighborhood. It is licensed to care for 2 to 6 residents, and a trained caregiver actually lives there. That means 24-hour support, home-cooked meals, a shared living room, and your very own bedroom. The average cost is between $3,000 and $5,000 a month. That is roughly half of what a nursing home charges. In many states, programs can even help cover part of the cost. I came across a comment from a woman who said, "My mother moved into an adult family home after a fall. She was terrified, but within 2 weeks, she was helping the caregiver make breakfast every morning. She said it felt like living with a friend." That is the difference. It's not a facility, it's a home. At Senior Health Tips, we believe this personal touch is what makes all the difference. It is a home that happens to have help. Now, adult family homes aren't perfect. Availability varies by state, and not every home is well run. You have to visit, ask questions, and check reviews. But for someone who wants care without losing their identity, it is a real option. The second alternative is something called senior co-housing. This one is a little different. In a co-housing community, you have your own private unit, your own kitchen, your own bathroom, and your own front door. But you also share common spaces, a large kitchen for group dinners, a garden, a workshop, and a library. The key difference is that the residents themselves design and run the community. There is no corporate landlord and no management company. Decisions are made together, and everyone contributes. One of the most well-known examples is a village in Boulder, Colorado. It opened in 2007 with 16 units, all for residents 55 and older. They share meals a few times a week, they check on each other, and they've built something that feels less like a facility and more like a neighborhood. At Senior Health Tips, we believe that staying connected is just as important as staying healthy. It feels less like a housing facility and more like a neighborhood that actually works. And here is the financial part that surprises people. Senior co-housing can reduce monthly living costs by 40 to 50% compared to living alone. Shared utilities, shared maintenance, and group insurance plans, it all adds up. I spent some time reading through forums from people who live in these communities, and one thing kept coming up. They didn't move there because they had to. They moved there because they wanted to. They were tired of being alone in a house full of memories. I think there is something powerful about that. Choosing community not out of desperation, but out of desire. The limitation, of course, is availability. Senior co-housing communities are still relatively rare, and they require a certain personality. You have to be willing to participate, attend meetings, and be a neighbor in the fullest sense. But for the right person, it can be transformative. The third alternative is perhaps the most accessible. It's called the village model. Here is how it works. You stay in your own home. You don't move anywhere. Instead, you join a membership-based community, usually run by a nonprofit, that connects you with volunteers and services. The annual fee is typically between $200 and $500 a year. For that, you get access to things like rides to doctor appointments, help with groceries, home repairs, technology support, and regular social events. There are now over 350 villages operating across the United States, in big cities and small towns alike. They are growing because the concept is simple. You don't have to leave your life behind to get help living it. An article I read described a woman who felt completely alone. No spouse, no children, and no siblings nearby. She said joining a village was the first time in years she didn't feel invisible. The village model doesn't replace medical care or full-time assistance. If you need serious medical help, you'll still need professional services. But for millions of people, it provides the bridge that keeps them safe, connected, and independent in their own homes. At Senior Health Tips, we want you to know that you have choices. You are not just a room number. You are a neighbor, a friend, and a valued part of a community. If you need round-the-clock help, the village model isn't the answer. But for the millions of seniors who are mostly independent and just need a little support, a ride here, a conversation there, or someone to call if the power goes out, it can be the difference between thriving and just surviving. So let's put it all together. If you need full-time care in a warm, small setting, an adult family home might be your answer. If you want to live independently but never feel alone, senior co-housing could be worth exploring. And if you want to stay right where you are but need a hand now and then, the village model is already out there waiting. None of these are perfect. All of them require research, planning, and honest conversations. But they exist, and most people don't know that. I think the real tragedy isn't that seniors end up in nursing homes. It's that so many of them end up there believing it was the only choice. It is not. And before I let you go today, there's a passage I read recently that I keep coming back to. It reminds us that our value doesn't fade with age, and our right to a dignified, happy life remains as strong as ever. Thank you for watching Senior Health Tips. Remember to subscribe for more guidance on navigating these important years with wisdom and health. There is a famous passage from a psychiatrist who survived unimaginable suffering in the most difficult circumstances. He lost nearly everyone he loved, yet he noticed something profound. The people who survived weren't always the strongest or the youngest. They were the ones who held on to a sense of meaning. He wrote, "Everything can be taken from a person but one thing, the last of the human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way." I sat with that line for a long time because I think that is what our friend the librarian chose. That is what every person who refuses to give up their independence is choosing. It is not always the easiest path, or even the cheapest, but it is their own. He also wrote, "When we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves." Maybe that is what getting older really is. It's not a problem to be solved, but a challenge to meet on your own terms. If this meant something to you today, please share it with someone who might need to hear it. And if you haven't yet, subscribe to Senior Health Tips. I'll see you in the next one.